Welcome in, everybody. Happy Monday. Thank you guys for all the heart me's. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in, everybody. Happy Monday. Feel free to write your story requests in all capital letters, and I will write them down and we can vote on them. Hi, Punky. Hi, Sun and Moon. Hi, Cassie. Hi, E Online. Hi, Brooklyn. How are you doing? Thank you, Neil. Thank you, Kayla. Hi, Rochelle. Can't wait to see it, Elizabeth. Oh, thanks, Viola. Thank you so much. I can't wait to see what you got. Hi, Tiffany. Welcome in, everybody. My name's Devin, and this is Porch Lore, and I tell spooky bedtime stories to help you relax your nervous system and fall asleep. And I am here every single night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time until about 1 in the morning. I do write and record all of these stories myself, so if you would like to listen to them when I'm not live, they're all available on my YT channel as well as all of the podcast streaming sites. Just look for Porch Lore and you will find me. Also, all the links are in my bio. And if you guys could do me a big favor and hit that share arrow in the bottom right-hand corner, there is a little yellow circle with 2 arrows chasing each other that says repost. And that puts the live into your friends' FYPs. And it helps us grow our beautiful porch. Thank you, Songbird. Those are cute. And I will be right back. I'm going to set up the first poll for us to vote on the story. And feel free, if you haven't sent in your story requests, write them in all capital letters and I will add them to the list. Happy Monday. Thank you, Tanya. Thank you, Melissa. Those are so cute. Thanks, Tanya. Thanks, Mimsy. Hi, Mims. Thank you, Tina. All right, guys, I have the first poll ready. Siren Mom, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the porch. All right, guys, we have the first poll ready. We have the Kentucky Goblins, Crawl Space, the Honey Island Swamp Monster, the NOLA Vampires, or Ash Grove. You can vote in the top left-hand corner. Thank you, Heather. And you can vote up to 50 times, and you can vote for more than one story. Who's it going to be, guys? The Kentucky Goblins, the Crawl Space, the Honey Island Swamp Monster, the NOLA Vampires, or Ash Grove? Oh, Crawl Space and NOLA neck and neck, guys. Nola Vampires is winning. Come on, crawl space guys. Well, Carl, using context clues, I would assume that the story is after we're done voting on which one we're gonna hear. Oh, it was so close, you guys. That was a close one. That was a close one. Such a close poll. All right, guys, the winner is Nola Vampires. Whoop, whoop. That was close, wasn't it? All right, you guys. The New Orleans Vampires is the winner. So, I will be right back with that story. And while I'm pulling that up, if you guys could do me a big favor, could you hit that share arrow in the bottom right-hand corner? And there is a little yellow circle with 2 arrows chasing each other. And that says repost. And that puts my live into your friends' FYPs, and it helps us grow our beautiful porch. Also, sharing with in your stories and sharing with your friends helps too. And I will be right back with the tale of the New Orleans Vampires. Happy Monday. Also, for anybody interested in the news story, I always read the news story at midnight or after. So don't worry, I will read it at midnight. Thank you, Heather. I love that one. Hi, Tara. Thanks, Tara. Oh, we got corn from James. Hi, Jennifer. Thanks for the cozy cryptids. Hi, Pixie Cat. Welcome in, everybody. Thank you, AMG. A couple people actually have purchased this one as a print on my merch site because they like it so much. Yeah, see, Jasmine, I was just going to say that, Jasmine. I was just going to say several of y'all have purchased this one. This one's a popular print, and I'm happy to see it. I'm glad you guys like it. It makes my heart really happy. Yes, Lex. The purple banner that I sometimes take off during the stories, this one right here, is the site, and it's also the links in my bio. Oh, there we go. Justin wrote it out. It's super easy to remember. Just Porch Lore, and then you hit dot and store. Thank you, Deborah. Most of the backgrounds at this point, not most, but a lot of the popular ones, people have requested for me to put them up as framed prints, and so this one and several other cool ones. And if you guys ever want one, all you have to do is write in all capital letters when the story comes up. Yes, Lex, it's from Fourth Wall, and they ship worldwide. So all you have to do is... Wait, what was I saying? I already forgot because I got so distracted by making sure they ship to Canada. All you have to do is write print request in all capital letters in the chat if you like one of the backgrounds, that if it's not on the site already. But a lot of the good ones are already on the site. But if you happen to like one that is not available on the site, just let me know and request it as a print. On the YT premiere tonight for the new story at 7, Yaya already requested that the new story be turned into a print when we did the premiere tonight. So anytime you guys like one, just let me know if you don't see it on the site. Oh, thanks, Diana. Yeah, I put a lot of love into them, and none of the pieces are going anywhere. Sometimes the site runs out of stock, like the Fourth Wall site, but they'll restock, but they don't run out of mine. They just like run out of like a white t-shirt, you know what I mean? And then they'll get it back. So like colors or something. Hi, Trey. Yes, thanks, Lex. I would love that. I premiere a new story there every Monday, but that's kind of my hub. That's where all my stories live. And then I come over here to read them live. So most of y'all, or a lot of y'all, fall asleep to my stories over there. And then come listen to them live over here with me. Quick swig, and I'll be right back with the New Orleans Vampires. Happy Monday. Treya made it that way on purpose. Because New Orleans is inviting, man. It really is enticing. Yes, Possum. Oh, thank you, Sun and Moon. The new story I'll read around midnight, Possum. And also, Possum, I noticed you left some sweet comments on my past videos. Thank you so much. I really appreciate those of you who go back and watch my other videos and leave comments. Not just the brand new one. It just means a lot. I put a lot of effort into them, and I appreciate it. Good night, Robin. Florida Trucker, that's a great one. I love that. I'm writing that down. Hi, Riverman. That's okay, Grandma Mimsy. Love you. We all get overwhelmed sometimes. Love you. Submitted for the approval of the Porch Pal Society. This is the tale of the New Orleans vampires. I went to New Orleans for research, which is how I justify most of my bad ideas. I was tracing the evolution of vampire folklore in the American South. Specifically, how European legends mutated once they hit a city already saturated with death, ritual, and humidity thick enough to feel alive. New Orleans isn't just a setting for a vampire story. It's a collaborator. I told myself this as the plane descended, watching the wetlands spread out like dark veins beneath the clouds. I wasn't there to chase thrills, and I wasn't there to provoke anything. I was there to understand why this city, more than anywhere else in the United States, insists on vampires, not as monsters, but as residents. From the start, the research didn't behave the way it should have. Most folklore trips follow a familiar pattern. You read the academic sources, then the local retellings, and then the exaggerated tourist versions. And somewhere in the overlap, you find the truth hiding quietly. But New Orleans didn't offer any overlap. It had layers, and each layer contradicted the last while insisting it was the original. The French Quarter vampire narratives were the most well-known, of course. Stories tied to the Ursuline convent, the casket girls, European women arriving with coffin-shaped trunks that contained soil from their homeland. Every early account I found had marginal notes, scratched out lines, revisions made by different hands. Dates corrected, names removed, entire paragraphs missing, as if someone had decided that certain details aged poorly and needed to be retired. The more obscure the source, the more intact the story. By my third day, I had narrowed my focus to a cluster of accounts centered around the lower quarter and the stretch of streets edging toward Marigny. These stories didn't frame vampires as predators. They framed them as caretakers, watchers, things that stayed behind when everyone else fled. Especially during outbreaks, fires, and floods. There was an old phrase that kept being repeated across decades of the material. La Voire des Sangs, the Watchers of the Blood. I stayed in a narrow creaking guest house that predated most of the street's wiring. The kind of place where the floor slopes gently toward history, and the mirrors feel a little too honest. I chose it because several of the earliest accounts referenced a boarding house on the same block, though the name had changed at least 4 times. The first oddity was architectural. My room had no threshold. There was no raised sill, no lip, no transition between a hallway and a room. Just a continuous stretch of warped wood, polished by time. It struck me as strange because old buildings usually exaggerated boundaries. They didn't erase them. That night, I organized my materials, spreading photocopies and notebooks across the bed. Many of the older stories described an informal system of permission. Residents didn't invite vampires inside their homes. They left doors ajar, removed locks during epidemics. The implication was subtle, but it was consistent. Invitation wasn't verbal. It was architectural. The second oddity came the next morning. I woke with a distinct sensation that someone had been standing beside the bed for a long time, but no one was there. I looked and my notes had been rearranged. They weren't missing, they weren't damaged, they were simply organized now by street instead of by year, which made no sense given the way I work. What I thought was so strange was the competence. Whoever did this understood the material. I told myself maybe, I don't know, the housekeeper or something. But that explanation didn't last long. I noticed an addition at the top of the page written in careful, old-fashioned hand that was not mine. And it was a date, not a future warning, not a threat. It was a correction. I spent the afternoon walking. New Orleans encourages walking because it wants you tired. Slower, more permeable. The city teaches you where to step and where not to linger. And I followed the path of the older stories, noticing which buildings were repeatedly spared during disasters. Fires that jumped entire blocks but stopped short of certain doorways. Floodlines that curved strangely around specific courtyards. Every one of those buildings shared something subtle in common. They all lacked thresholds. No raised sills, no symbolic barriers. Doors that met the street directly, as if the house and the city agreed not to pretend they were separate things. That night, I stayed up late reading first-hand accounts from the early 1900s. One was written by a night physician during a yellow fever outbreak. He described men who never slept, never aged, and who moved patients from bed to bed and who carried the dying into the street so that the illness wouldn't linger indoors. They never got sick. He never used the word vampire. He just used the word neighbor. Sometime after midnight, I became aware of movement in my room. And then I heard the absence of the city's constant noise, like someone had cupped their hands over the night. I lay there still, my heart steady but alert, watching the dark, waiting for my eyes to adjust. Figures stood along the walls. People, dressed in styles that didn't belong to the same decade, let alone the same room. Their faces were calm, focused, almost bored. None of them crossed over to my bed. And that was when I noticed it again. The missing threshold, the way my room bled directly into the hall, and the hall bled directly into the stairs, and the stairs bled directly to the street. There was no moment where entry became intrusion. They weren't trespassing. They were just present. The watchers weren't invited into homes. The homes were built so that they never had to be. New Orleans hadn't survived because it was lucky. It survived because it made room for what refused to leave. Because when death came too often, the city negotiated. The figures began adjusting the placement of my notes, correcting dates, removing names that should not be spoken anymore, not saying a word. And I realized then that none of the older accounts had been censored by institutions like I thought. They were being edited by the participants. One figure paused beside the bed. Eyes met mine briefly, just curious. And I understood that I hadn't been researching vampires. I had been unintentionally auditing their system. The Watchers of the Blood were not hunters, they were the infrastructure. When disease came, they carried it away. When violence surged, they redirected it. And when the dead overflowed, they thinned the threshold between life and after, so the city wouldn't drown in its own loss. And then every few decades, someone like me comes along and starts noticing patterns that we aren't supposed to notice. Then the figure reached down and placed something on the nightstand. A small, brittle card. It was a guest registry entry from the boarding house. My name was already written on it. Below was another name. It had been crossed out. Someone else had planned this research, but it looks like they had not left New Orleans. Then the figure nodded at me and receded. They didn't really vanish, they just simply kind of redistributed themselves back into the city's bones. And then all of a sudden the sound returned. Traffic, laughter, a distant trumpet playing. In the morning, my notes were intact, but they were altered. Certain connections no longer made sense. Certain conclusions now refused to form. The material that remained was safe, publishable, toothless. I checked out early. At the airport, while I was waiting to board, I searched for the name on that registry card that had been crossed out. And it appeared exactly once in public records. Cause of death listed as relocation complications. No body was ever recovered. I still research folklore and I still travel for it, but I understand the rule now. The one New Orleans never bothers to explain. Some cities don't have vampire legends because they fear them. They have them because they rely on them. And if you notice too much, the city doesn't chase you away. It just edits you out. And that's the tale of the New Orleans vampires. Welcome in, everybody. My name is Devin, and this is Porch Lore. And I tell spooky bedtime stories to help you relax your nervous system and fall asleep. And I am here every single night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time until about 1 in the morning. I do write and record all of these stories myself. Thank you, Sam. I do write and record all of these stories myself, and you can listen to them whenever you would like on my YT channel, as well as all of the podcast streaming sites. Just look for Porch Lore, and you'll find me. I also have all of the links in my bio if you aren't able to find them. Thanks, Kim. Hi, Ava. No problem. Glad you're here. And no, Robert, that wasn't the new story. I don't read the new story until midnight on Mondays. All right, guys, I'm going to set up the next poll for us to vote for the next story. Thank you, Archangelo. I love that swan. And if you guys could do me a big favor while I'm doing that, could you hit that share arrow in the bottom right-hand corner? And then you'll see a little yellow circle with two arrows chasing each other that says repost. And that puts my live into your friends' FYPs, and it helps us grow this beautiful porch of ours. Also, sharing to your stories and sharing with your friends helps too. And I'll be right back with the next poll. Thank you to everybody tapping. All right, you guys, the next poll is ready. Thanks, Lonnie. You're so sweet. All right. Oh, I'm glad I can keep you company. Oh, so very ordinary. That little dog treat gift is so cute. All right, guys, we have the poll is ready. And we have, oh wait, there we go. The Kentucky Goblins, the Crawl Space, the Wrong Turn, Hug and Molly, and Poplar Creek. You can vote in the top left-hand corner. There's a blue box. You can vote up to 50 times, and you can vote for more than one story. Sometimes the blue box hides under that stupid pink universe banner, but it comes back, or you can swipe the banner up and it'll go away. Who's it gonna be, you guys? Hi, Skrella. Oh, thank you, Lindsay. I appreciate it. Hello, Connor. Who's it gonna be? Oh, it looks like it's gonna be Crawl Space. Thank you, Tiffany. I love you guys too. Hi, Brooke. All right, you guys, the winner is Crawl Space, and I'll be right back with that story. And if you guys could do me a big favor while I'm getting that story ready, can you hit that share arrow in the bottom right-hand corner? There is a little yellow circle with 2 arrows chasing each other that says repost. Thank you, Sam, for the hand hearts. That repost button puts my live into your friends' FYPs, and it helps us grow our beautiful porch. Also, sharing to your stories and sharing with your friends helps too. And thank you to everybody who's tapping the screen. It's free and it helps us get pushed out. I'll be right back with the tale of the crawl space. So grab a beanbag chair, grab a hammock, sit back and relax. And welcome to the porch. And Lonnie, there's been Quick Swig merch since the beginning. Hi, Lonnie. Hi, Leslie. Yeah, there's a couple different Quick Swig versions of mugs and like coffee tumblers, but I haven't made the Iran one yet because I'm still trying to figure out, like, I can't just put the word Iran on there. There has to be something, you know? And I'm not gonna lie, I get these like bursts of like creativity and intense ideas, and I literally spent like a month cranking out like 500 different merch items, and now I'm like, I gotta think about that for like, I'm not like I can't come up with it. It's just I don't know how to explain it. If you're creative, I feel like you understand. But we get these like, it's like you can't like force it. Does that make sense? Like, because I did design all of these like myself. So like I had like this like divine cracked out energy spurt to do it, and I had all these amazing ideas just flowing. And then the last couple things I've tried to like, I'm like struggling with what to create. So I will try, but I'm like, who should be running? Like me? Yeah, exactly, Mimsy. Diana. It's called mania. Yeah. No, it's like writers get it too. Yeah. Yep. See, I was just gonna say I'm the same way with writing. And when I was in journalism school, like every writer I know was like that. But it's like when the inspiration hits. That's why people had muses back in like 700 years ago. They called them muses, but it is definitely different than mania. But it's yeah, and it's not even a sudden burst of energy, really. It's a sudden burst of like thoughts and creativity and drive to do it, like a motivation to just like, like I was like staying up all night cranking out that shit. Yeah, no, it's not really writer's block. It's more just like when you've exhausted the ideas you had. Like I made like 500 different merch items. That's great. That's a lot for like a couple week period. And so, yeah, so now I just need to like let it simmer for a little bit, let it simmer, let it, marinate for a little bit. Brooke. Yes, flow states, right? You get it. They're so draining afterwards. You need a recharge time. Thank you. I'm so glad you get that's a flow state. That's exactly it. And that's where like right now I'm at the recharge. Because I've also had several deaths. This is not the first one that happened last night. I have had several deaths in the last couple months. So it's been a lot. So I'm definitely in a recharge time where, let it marinate. Let it soak in the sauce for a little bit, So I will be right back with the crawl space. Thank you, Bone and Branch. By the way, those of you who are on the Discord, did you see that I parked next to Agent Scully today? How cool is that? And she looks the same as she did 30 years ago. Can you believe it? Speaking of which, this story was inspired by an X-Files character. So if you're an X-Files fan, take a guess. If you know, don't ruin it in the chat. Regulars, don't ruin it. If you newbies like X-Files, let me know if you can figure out which character from X-Files was the inspiration for this story. Yes, last time you guys did, when I was like, see if you can guess, everybody like wrote it out, the people who know. I'm like, y'all, I didn't mean you guys. I mean the new people who don't know. So please don't say if you know. And yes, David Pumpkins, Skrilla. So I like it's a fun thing because I feel like X-Files is kind of like a really nerdy fandom, and so it's fun. Beefy, I love you. Hi, Megan. So yeah, so if you are new and you're an X-Files fan, let me know if you know what story inspired this. Or I mean, what character inspired this. Obviously, it's not the same, but it was the inspiration because I pull inspiration from everything. Anything that freaks me out. Lovely, just turn around and walk back out the door. This is one of the only stories that scares Lovely, and she just came in right now and said, "Bruh." It just won, Lovely. And I haven't read it in a while. Well then, Lovely, put on your big girl pants. He's not in your crawl space. Yeah, Deborah, they did that in like 2014 and it was pretty bad. And I'm honestly like sick of them using the same exact intellectual property so they don't have to pay creatives over and over and over again. Just redoing and butchering all my favorite things. So I actually don't usually watch redos because A, they're never as good, and B, it just rewards a fucked up system that literally doesn't hire creatives anymore. That's why there's been so many writer strikes, because they're just going to use the IP they've already paid for the rest of their fucking lives, and everybody's just gonna watch it and so there won't be new stories. They won't hire new creatives, new storyboard directors, anything like that. They'll just continue to use it's called IP and it's intellectual property. And once the studios own it, they'll just they don't have to pay anybody for it. They don't have to pay anybody for it. And they can just redo Charmed. They can redo Fresh Prince. They can redo, oh wait, they have every single one of those fucking shows. Quantum Leap. Every single show, Beverly Hills 90210. Every show that you can think of. They've done it at least once, maybe if not twice, and they're going to just continue forever now, because guess what? Streaming, they don't like how they're going to have to pay people for streaming royalties. It's worse when they're not syndicated shows, and the shows, like, because of reruns, they didn't make a lot of money off that, but they knew when the reruns were playing and they knew an estimated amount. Streaming's different, so they have to pay a lot more for streaming rights, and the artists' contracts want more, for long-term royalties, and so they're just opting out of streaming rights contracts for IP. They won't do it. And that's why there's writer strikes every year, and that's why they just keep putting out live action versions of the same shit and redos of this. So just gonna throw that out there so plants in your brain. So next time you guys are like, oh my God, they're redoing, don't fall for it. Don't get played. It's always crap. It's always disappointing. And they pull on your nostalgia because you liked the original. And they're just going to continue to make money off of it and not pay anybody else. So if we stopped watching those remakes and they bombed, instead of just be like, well, I loved it, so nostalgia. If we did that, then it might actually make some change. So, off my soapbox, just throwing it out there. Be right back with Crawl Space. So basically I'm saying don't be a sucker for the big corporation studios. Don't fall for that shit. And when they're like, people watch half that shit so they can talk to their friends about it, find something else to talk about. Get a hobby or something. Like, what are you going to talk about? Did you see The Little Mermaid live action? It was still the little fucking mermaid. You know, like, don't. Come on. Don't feed the beast. Exactly, Deborah. Exactly. Thank you. Thank you. Learn a language. Like, get Rosetta Stone. You'll feel so good about yourself. And I say that as someone who needs to learn a language because I thought it was a good idea to take American Sign Language because I thought I'd be a reporter that actually knew sign language. But A, it's only American, and B, I never use it and no one ever needs it. So I need to learn another language too. Ava, same. Fucking same. Preach on that. Thank you. Thank you. And notice how they're not redoing Pocahontas. Because they know better. Because they fucking know better. Because they fucked that up. They fucked that up. Well, I know, Brooke, but you know what I'm saying? That's what, because they fucked it all up. Yep, that's a can of worms they stayed away from, thankfully. Yeah, Brooke, my mom protested. My mom had her entire historical native or indigenous historians of America Society write a giant fucking like petition to Disney protesting the first one. And it was my favorite Disney movie. I loved it so much, but I didn't know. And I was a little girl, and the colors in that movie are the most beautiful colors, and it's all nature based. It's about trees and animals. They're her best friends. And that's like me. I lived outdoors. So like I didn't obviously know about the inaccuracies, the horribleness of it then. I was obsessed with it because I loved the native people. My mom was a native historian, and I thought she was so beautiful, and like I loved waterfalls and the trees, you know what I mean? And so to this day, it's still my favorite. I know it's totally wrong, but the music is banging. Like it's so, and Pocahontas, we were talking about Pocahontas. So I'm like, I honestly, they fucked it up so bad, but they also didn't touch it. And I'm like, good, because that was actually my favorite. And I know it's wrong. My mom protested it, and my mom hated that it was my favorite. But that music and the tree, the willow tree, and Cocoam, and the little raccoon and the hummingbird, you know, that was like my dream, was to be her and to jump off that cliff into the water. Like, God. And the music, yeah, and the colors. The artist who designed the colors are the most beautiful colors ever in a Disney movie. Ever. And yeah, I didn't know any better, but it still brings that tinge of nostalgia, and I still think it's a beautifully done movie. It's still a work of art, even though the story is wrong. It's beautifully done. And yeah, that cliff diving, man. I wanted to do that my whole fucking life because of her. Oh, trust me, I went as Pocahontas for Halloween, the year that movie came out. And no one will ever see those pictures because now I'd be canceled for it. But I didn't know any better, and I was like 7, and I fucking loved her. I wanted to be her so bad. But I also had the Teresa Barbie. So I was just appropriating everybody, and I didn't know it. Because I loved all the cultures. Matoka. I love that. Thank you, Brooke, for sharing that with me. Thank you. Matoka. Literally, Skrilla. I didn't do that, but I definitely I was just like so pale and blonde. I didn't like the blonde Barbie. I wanted the Teresa Barbie, and I was obsessed with her. She looked like Jennifer Lopez, and I thought she was the most beautiful person. It's like I've literally always been all about championing for other cultures and women of color because I didn't know that, you know what I mean? Back then, I didn't know what appropriation was or anything like that. Teresa was everything. She was the prettiest Barbie to this day, and I don't care what anybody says. She was so pretty, and she had green eyes, and her hair had highlights, and she had like the caramel skin. Yeah, Teresa was my favorite. Are you, Lex? I'm German and Scottish. I didn't do that, Skrilla. Wasn't that bad? Jesus. Submitted for the approval of the Porch Pal Society. This is the tale of the crawl space. Thank you, Mary. So cute. You guys, I just realized who Wolf is. Wolf King. Are you the wolf that your lovely friend comes in and looks for you? That's disgusting, Brooke. Yeah, Wolf King. Yeah, is that the wolf? Yeah. So this lovely girl comes in every night or every couple nights and asks, Wolf, are you in here? And then she's like, damn it, he told me to come in here. And then we're always like, Wolf who? But then I just saw your name and I'm like, wait, Wolf King comes in here all the time. What the fuck? I was just thinking of Wolf, but Wolf King, that's probably who she's looking for. Is it you? Is it you? Are you Wolf King? I mean, are you a wolf? You guys know what I'm talking about, right? You are the wolf. Okay. Guys, we figured out who Wolf is. Yay. Yes, Deborah. See, Deborah gets it. Yeah, she says, is that who she was looking for in all caps? Yes. Because she's come in here a couple nights in a row and been like, hey, is Wolf in here? We found him. I'm so glad. Because I saw him just say hi to Justin. I was like, wait a minute. My brain was like, beep, beep, boop, beep, beep. Wolf King. Beep, beep, boop. She was looking for Wolf. Wait a minute. Hold on. Because I was just thinking wolf, but it's all one word, Wolf King. And I was like, oh, that's Wolf. We found you. So now when she comes in, we can be like, yup, he's here. Unless you want us to not say you're not, then we can do that too. This is a place for relaxing. Me too, Deborah. I didn't connect it either until right now. And he's been in here like every night. So we were like, no, he's not in here. He's just hiding in the back of the porch. I did, Brooke. I found the wolf. I'm actually kind of proud of myself. Kim said, okay. I'll be here for an hour or two. Oh, okay. So maybe she comes in when you're gone. I get it. You invite her, and then by the time she comes, you're not here anymore. That makes sense, Wolf. We're glad you're here, and we're glad we solved the mystery, because we've been wondering. We're like, who's Wolf? Oh, Wolf King. Now, the real question is your real name Wolf? Because my brother had a friend named Wolfie. So I'm like, is your real name Wolf? Are you from the South? No, he's not hiding from her. She leaves by the time she gets here. I know, Brooke, right? I'm proud of myself. No, it's not, Cody. All right. Submitted for the approval of the Porch Pal Society. This is the tale of the crawl space. Trigger warning, this is one of my scarier stories, and my mod has to leave because of it. Lovely. It's time to leave. When I was 21, I rented a house in rural Tennessee for the summer. It was the kind of place you picture in a faded photograph. Wide front porch, paint peeling in soft curls, a yard full of tall grass and wild mint. It sat on a plot of land that used to be part of a larger farm. But the property had been split and sold into patches. The house was old, and I mean really old. Kim. Wooden floorboards, one bathroom, and a stove that hissed like it had secrets. I found it listed on a message board for college students doing internships, and I needed a cheap place to stay while working for a local historical society. I should have known something was off when the landlord gave me the key in a Walgreens parking lot and told me he didn't get out there much anymore. The house was secluded, nestled between overgrown hedgerows and thick woods. The air was heavy with humidity, and the chirp of cicadas never stopped. It felt like the kind of place where time hiccuped. There were no streetlights, no mailboxes, just a gravel driveway. The first few days were uneventful. Other than the sheer isolation, I was spending most of my time scanning old documents in the back office of the town's tiny museum and driving back at dusk. That's when the place started feeling off. Not haunted. And I guess not in the way you'd think, just off. And it started with the crawl space. There was a square vent cut into the floor of the hallway near the kitchen. One of those old school access points to the house's foundation. The first time I noticed it, I assumed it was just an old vent. But when I leaned down to look, I saw a rusted wooden latch. It wasn't a vent, it was a wooden door with a crawl space hatch. I tried to open it just out of curiosity, but it wouldn't budge. I figured maybe it had been sealed shut by somebody or moisture. But that night, as I laid in bed, I heard something move beneath the floorboards. It wasn't the usual creaks or groans of an old house settling. It sounded deliberate, like a dragging motion. A rhythmic scrape. and then a pause, and then another scrape. I convinced myself maybe it was raccoons or a possum. But when I went outside with my flashlight and looked around the foundation, I didn't see any gaps or entry points. Everything was sealed tight. The next night, the scraping came again, closer this time. The third night, I heard it while I was awake. Sitting on the couch, sipping tea, trying to read. The scraping started from the far end of the house, near the back bedroom, and moved steadily toward me, right beneath the floorboards. Also, witchies in the chat. Brooke could use some help with her headache if we have any Reiki or smudgers or anything of that sort. Feel free to send it out. Lovely does Reiki, but she's not in here because of the story, but she'll be back. I held my breath. My eyes were fixed on the crawlspace hatch across the room. It was dead silent for a few seconds, and then I heard it. Just once. The creak of the latch. I slept in my car that night. The next morning, I brought a hammer inside and I tried prying open the latch. This time it lifted. Not easily, but enough that I could slide it back and reveal the square black hole beneath the floor. A wooden ladder led down into the dark, but the rungs were rotted and I couldn't see more than a few feet down. I lowered my phone with the flashlight on, and that's when I saw it. There was a mattress down there, a twin-size, old stained thing shoved against the dirt wall. Nearby was a rusted folding chair, an empty gallon jug, and what looked like a crumpled flannel shirt. It was a room. Someone had been living under the house. Hi, Isabel. I slammed the hatch shut and I nailed it down. I should have called the police. But the truth is, I didn't know what to tell them. There were no signs of forced entry, no threats, nothing technically criminal. You know, just a sense of growing dread that clung to everything. I started noticing little things after that. My dish towel would be damp when I hadn't used it. My shampoo bottle would be in a slightly different spot. Yes, Blue. Tell your cat I said meow. Once I found my toothbrush wet and I hadn't brushed my teeth yet that day. I started locking my bedroom door at night, even though I knew it wouldn't stop someone determined enough. I even pushed a dresser in front of it too, just in case. But the scraping didn't stop. One night I woke up to the sound of something breathing on the other side of the wall. Slow, steady, shallow breaths. Like someone trying not to be heard. I pressed my ear to the drywall, barely breathing myself. I could hear it faint but unmistakable. And yes, Jack, tell your kitties I said meow, meow. Someone was inside the wall. I drove back to town the next morning, and I asked my supervisor at the Historical Society if anyone had any records on the old property. She looked surprised, and she said that it had belonged to the Tullis family for generations, but it was sold off in pieces in the 1990s. I asked if anyone had ever lived in the house recently, and she said no. It sat vacant for at least 15 years before I moved in. She even joked that I was brave for staying out there alone. I stopped sleeping altogether after that. I started keeping a hammer next to my bed, and I stopped using the shower and just bathed at the gym in town. I even bought one of those cheap door alarms from the hardware store, and I rigged it to the crawlspace latch, just in case. Why, Matt? We love you, Matt. It went off 2 nights later. Your black cat responded. I love it. The screech of that alarm jolted me out of a half sleep around 3 a.m. and I barely had time to grab the hammer before I heard the crawlspace door slam shut. When I got there, the latch was broken off entirely, and there was a smell, musky, earthy, something like sweat and rotted leaves. I didn't go back to sleep. I sat in the middle of the living room with the hammer clutched in both hands. The next morning, I packed my bags and I left. I didn't even care about the rest of the lease. I just wanted out of there. But here's the part that makes my skin crawl. A week after I moved out, I got a call from the local sheriff's office. They had been doing a welfare check on the house after reports of a break-in. When they entered, they found the place trashed. And worse, in the crawl space, they found another trap door dug into the dirt. And it led to a tunnel, hand dug, just wide enough for someone to crawl through. And it led directly beneath my bedroom. Inside the tunnel, they found food wrappers, empty pill bottles, and a collection of women's personal items. My personal items. Lipstick, socks, even a single earring that I thought I had lost. The tunnel had been active while I lived there. Whoever it was had been living under my house. I tried to forget about it. I really did. Kim. But here's the twist. The part that finally made me write all of this down. After that, I moved into a new apartment in a different state. The top floor, secure, big building with new locks. And everything felt fine. Until I came home from work one day and noticed that the vent above the bathroom door was slightly ajar. So I grabbed a stool and I looked inside. There was something shiny wedged in the corner. So I pulled it out. It was a single earring. The matching one that I had never lost. And now I hear scraping again. Only this time, it's coming from above. And that's the tale of the crawl space. And no, Brooke, I said lipsticks socks, not sexy socks. Plus, like, what the fuck are sexy socks? You like my socks, big boy? No, Cody, it was the other earring. It was the other one. Like, he stole it from my apartment there. Ava, that's exactly was the goal of my entire reason for making this channel. So thank you. That is the best compliment you could literally give me. That was my goal. Is it feels like we're just friends sitting around a fire chatting about a creepy story. So thank you so much. I literally went through a bad summer, like a bad breakup, whatever, and I spent the whole summer watching Are You Afraid of the Dark? It's like a nostalgia escape. And then I was like, you know what? Adults deserve this. We need something like this. And that's literally what made me start my channel. Was because I was like, I'm sick of hearing about teenagers and kids. Honestly, I don't give a fuck. These kids like, I love the show, but I'd like to hear situations that I could be like, whoa, you know, we still deserve that whimsy and that little, ooh, you know. Diana, there's over 100. The whole list is on my Discord page. Yeah, so thanks, Ava. Welcome in, everybody. My name is Devin, and this is Porch Lore. And I tell spooky bedtime stories to help you relax your nervous system and fall asleep. Thank you, Celia. Thanks, Brittany. Thanks, Jamie. Thanks, Phyllis. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks, Elizabeth. Hi, Scream Queen. Thanks, Isabel. I do write and record all these stories myself, and you can listen to them on my YT channel, as well as any of the podcast streaming sites. Just look for Porch Lore and you will find me. I'm going to set up the next poll, and if you guys could do me a big favor, could you hit that share arrow in the bottom right-hand corner? There is a little yellow circle with 2 arrows chasing each other that says repost. And that puts my live into your friends' FYPs. And yes, Justin will share the Discord link for you, Ava. He's wonderful at it. He's so quick with it. Oh, see? Look at that. Boom. Boom. He does it so fast. Thank you, Justin. You're the best. I really, really, really appreciate you. The Wolf King, that's kind of funny. That's really funny. You're just going to wear all black and hide in like the shadows between trees on the sidewalk and jump out at people. That's funny. But you also, just a reminder, there are people with cardiac issues. So just, you know, is that a cross you're willing to bear? Skrilla said, and fists. I was thinking more like giving people a heart attack or a stroke, but like people might also punch you. He's correct. A sock. Daza, that's hilarious. I don't know, Phyllis. What are you talking about? Thank you, Brooke. Yes. Thank you for reposting, guys. Thank you for sharing. And thank you for tapping the screen. And Brooke said, oh, it wouldn't let me pin it. No, Brooke said if you don't repost, you're going to get a knuckle Sammy. And now she's talking my language. I like when people speak my past life language. You're going to get a knuckle sandwich. You're here. Cruising for bruising. Oh, really, Elizabeth? I'll never stop dressing up for Halloween. I'll dress up for Halloween forever. All right, you guys. The next story is ready. The next poll is ready. We have the Kentucky Goblins, the Honey Island Swamp Monster, the Wrong Turn, the White Witch of Rose Hall, and Casey's Cats. You can vote in the top left-hand corner. There is a blue box, and you can vote up to 50 times, and you can vote for more than one story. Hi, Whiskey. Hi, Khaleesi. Who's it gonna be, guys? Gabriel, that's hilarious. Cody, does your wife smack you when you call her that? Thank you, Justin. We miss you too, Whiskey. Glad you're back. Oh, that's okay, Tanya. That's the whole goal. Hi, Andy. Hi, Fiona. Welcome back. Did you start school this week? Oh, 2 more weeks. Okay. I bet you're loving that, Daza. Barf. I'm just kidding. I don't actually barf about fall. I barf about winter. I like fall, but it's not. It just reminds me that winter's coming and everything is dying. And it's like, I'm just such a nature, like, I don't know, just seeing all my flowers die and it, like, and it's supposed to be a time where we recharge, but the society that we built doesn't let us do that. So I dread it because I don't have the energy I usually do because I'm attached to the earth. And so I'm affected by winter like animals are, basically. I have not been programmed into the robotic worker bee. So like I don't even have the same energy levels in the winter. And I feel like I'm just supposed to hibernate. And I dread it because then I feel like shame because everybody's like, waste of time. Like, you know what? Go ground yourself and then maybe you'll feel like that too. So that's why it's not even about being cold. It's because we're supposed to be hibernating. We're not even supposed to be like getting up when it's dark as hell and going out and scraping ice off our cars. Like, no. It's not the way we're supposed to live. Same whiskey. I'm cold when it's like 70. 60 is okay, maybe, but it's a chilly. All right, the winner is Casey's Cats. Thank you, Kisan. Thanks, dear grown kids. Yeah, same, huh? Same. And that's, well, I don't love winter, but I'm saying like winter is the worst time of the year for me because, and it was also because I swear there's a trauma attached to that because I was a reporter and I used to literally have to go out in my news in the freezing cold and like set up my and like I just like could not, like it was like horrible like it like hard no. Yeah, you should, Wolf. That would be so funny. Do it. All right, guys, I'll be right back with Casey's Cats. No, Grim, not in Houston. I was a reporter in Houston, yes, but I was also a reporter several other places in Ohio and Denver. Gabriel said Devin stopped being a reporter after meeting 4 turtles. Oh, whiskey, that's okay. Or us East Coasters eat it at 2 in the morning. Fuck it. Thanks, Melissa. Hi, Neck. Wait, sun and moon. Are you kidding? Are you kidding or are you being serious? Oh, but you're in Georgia. That's not even that's not even real winter. That's not even real winter. Y'all stop. Call me when you're north of the Mason-Dixon line in winter, and then we'll talk. Bingo, tree hugger. Bingo, it's awful up here. Awful up here. If you're around a Great Lake, F winter. That's all I have to say. It is. Ugh. Yeah, Indiana, bingo. Yep. I grew up in North Carolina. That's not real winter. That's not real winter. It's a fun little ice storm. Maybe your power goes out and you guys sled in 2 inches of snow. You can see the grass through it. And then they get school canceled. Nope. That's not what it's like. I learned. It is feet of frozen hell. It's digging out your car every single morning when the sun's not even up. It is the worst. So that's why I literally hibernate in the winter now. Guess what I don't do? I don't dig out my car. I don't go do shit. People are like, are you okay? I'm like, yep, see you in the spring. And I am so productive. I just sit around and like hyperfixate on shit, teach myself all this new stuff, come out of my cave in the spring, all this new knowledge, a bunch of stuff. That's it, literally. Can't handle it. Yes, Jack, 100%. Yep. Exactly, I hibernate like a bear. I get all cozy and fat and sassy. And then in the spring I reemerge and I'm like, all right, let's go hiking every day. Fuck yeah. No, I love humid. I love humidity. And does anybody get my reference of eating bread and soup and getting all fat and sassy? Does anybody remember that? I don't know. I just spend all winter eating soup and bread, getting all fat and sassy, making soup and stews. Yep, thank you, Deborah. Thank you, Deborah gets it. Making soup and stews, eating bread, getting all fat and sassy. That's how I spend my winter. And you know what? That woman's correct. She's an icon. And same, bitch, same. I'll never get over it. I love that video so much. Oh, how I spend my winter. I'm making stews and soups and eating bread, getting all fat and sassy. Gigi, if I need to go to the store, I begrudgingly layer on I look like a person where they're like, who's in there? Do you know what I'm talking about? Like there's no oh, she looks sexy in her winter coat. No, I don't care. I am freezing. So I'm 3 layers deep marshmallow person, and I just hop to the grocery store and then I whine the whole time I'm driving there. I'm like it's so cold. And if you guys really know winter, you know that there's a scream you do when you get into a freezing cold car that you can't help but do, because you have to do it because it's so cold that you scream when you get in. And I know only a few people in here might know what I'm talking about, but it is a thing where your body screams. It's so cold. If you haven't lived somewhere where it is so cold that your body involuntarily screams when you get into a car, you don't know winter. Yep, y'all know the scream. And it is something I never, when I've lived other places, it never happened. It's when you're, yep, Matt, it's it is the worst feeling. Yeah, me too, Ava. I have to talk myself into manually relaxing my shoulders during the winter because I'm so cold. Every muscle's tightened. And I have chronic injury. I have a lifelong injury, and it gets so much worse in the winter because all my muscles tense up. So it's not just because I could go on. There's literally 5 million reasons why I don't like winter. So I'm not just I hate winter. I have established life experience. Fall didn't do anything to me. They just remind me that winter's coming. I like fall. I like donuts and the apple picking and the whatever, but it's still just a reminder. And I'm like, oh no, oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah, Aldo, I'm only 4 hours from you. So, yep. If you're near a Great Lake, you get it. We get slammed, dude. And it is my friends are over living in California. How's your week been? I'm like, bitch, I haven't left my house in 3 weeks. What do you mean? How's my week been? It's the same week it's been all winter. What do you mean? Yeah, it definitely does, Gigi, for sure. I knew what you meant, Gigi. I remember that you're from New Hampshire because you're the only person I know from New Hampshire ever. So, like, I remember. And yes, New Hampshire gets a lot of snow too. Ava, you're exactly correct. Oh, Tanya, yeah, I bet. Yeah, the sun is fun. I'm a spring girly. I love the thunderstorms. I love how it's temperate. And I love everything's in bloom. All the smell of the flowers comes back. Look at Merlin. Wait, Phyllis, you tried to cut across the field? Phyllis. Phyllis, you tried to cut across the field? Okay, badass. How'd it go? Magic is real. I hope good things. And Merlin is so dapper, isn't he? Oh yeah, sorry, Ava. The X-Files character was Toombs. Remember that freak? He was a recurring character, and remember, he traveled through the vents like a creep. And he was always everywhere she was. She was like, oh, dude, what is your creepy problem? Get out of my vents. Yes, Eugene Toombs. Yeah, right? That's what the crawl space was. Sorry, guys, I forgot to tell it at the end. That's what the crawl space is based on. And he was sketchy, right, Rich? He was like the worst character in the X-Files. He was the one that really got to me. The other stuff, I'm not really scared of a lot. I find unexplained and creepy stuff fascinating because I think there's I think we can explain it. So I find it interesting, not really scary usually. But Eugene Toombs episodes, freaked. Like, I never looked at a vent the same. I was always looking at the vents like, who's back there? Fucking weirdo. Like, those episodes really, yes, his eyes. Thank you, Daza. His eyes. No, it's not still on. I just use it for inspiration sometimes for some of my stories. Hi, CJ. Oh, you got your license back? Congrats. I'm proud of you. No wonder you haven't been here with us lately. You're back on the road. Yeah, for sure, Rich. Yeah, right. Blue and Crew. Yeah, he was so creepy, right? Yeah, I like to use that show as some of the inspiration for my stories. Obviously, it's like not the same story at all. Crawl Space isn't even the same story at all. But pull inspiration from things that creeped me out, and his character coming in, like living in those vents, really stuck with me. And so I was like, yeah, we're using that in something. Because it's just an archive of creepy, weird shit in my brain that I remember from everything I've ever watched. All right, quick sweet, I'll be right back. And thank you, Maria. That's my cat, Merlin. Isn't he cute? I know AMG, he collected people's livers. He was horrifying. And yes, he ended up being taken out, Daza. But he literally was in like 3 episodes before that happened. He was like one of the few reoccurring creeps in that show. Because they knew what they were doing, and they knew that he was creepy as hell. Submitted for the approval of the Porch Pal Society. This is the tale, thank you, Sherry, of Casey's cats. Today we're diving into one of the lesser known mysteries surrounding one of the most baffling men in American history, and his name was Edgar Cayce. Cayce was known as the Sleeping Prophet, or the Sleepy Scholar. He entered self-induced trances where he'd diagnose illnesses, recommend treatments, and speak in elaborate detail on reincarnation, Atlantis, the Akashic Record, and yes, cats. Edgar Cayce believed that cats were spiritual sentinels, guardians, living instruments of energy attunement. And as strange as that sounds, Cayce was onto something. Thousands of his readings were recorded, cataloged, and preserved. And woven throughout those sessions were reoccurring references to cats. He especially talked about their uncanny ability to pick up on human energy, vibrations, and even illness. Over the course of his life, he delivered more than 14,000 such readings, earning a reputation as the most prolific and respected psychics in history. But what is less commonly known is Cayce's deep fascination with the natural world, especially animals, and the subtle energetic forces that govern life. And among all creatures, it was the cat that captured his special attention. To Cayce, cats were not mere pets or hunters. They were highly sensitive beings, finely attuned to the vibrations and energies that are invisible to the human eye. At the heart of Cayce's worldview lied a radical idea that the universe is a vast sea of energy, an intricate web of vibrational frequencies connecting all living things. He believed this energy was constantly in motion, flowing through physical matter and spiritual realms alike. Every thought, every emotion, every health condition generates its own unique vibration. Even our bodies emit these subtle energetic signatures, often shifting in response to internal or external changes. And Cayce believed that understanding this energetic landscape was crucial to grasping the true nature of health, consciousness, and the mysteries of life itself. Unlike most humans who are largely unaware of these invisible energies, cats possess an extraordinary capacity to perceive and interact with these vibrations. Their keen senses, their acute hearing, their sharp eyesight, and their sensitive whiskers are just the beginning. Casey's reading suggests that cats' very bodies and spirits resonate on frequencies that allow them to read the energy fields of the living and the non-living. Their whiskers, for instance, are incredibly sensitive tactile organs, capable of detecting minute changes in air pressure and electromagnetic waves. This allows cats to sense shifts in their environment long before humans notice anything unusual. Furthermore, Casey described cats as being linked to what he named the aura, which we all know now is an energetic field that surrounds every living being. This aura can reflect a person's physical health, emotional state, and spiritual well-being. When the aura is disturbed by illness, stress, or emotional upheaval, cats can perceive these disruptions, and their behavior changes accordingly. They may stare intently at a particular spot, paw or lick at an area of the human body, or display unusual restlessness or an overabundance of affection. These observations are not mere speculation. Casey's readings recount specific cases where cats acted as energetic sentinels, alerting their owners to health problems that were invisible to conventional medical diagnosis. For example, one reading described a cat that persistently pawed at its owner's abdomen. When the owner eventually sought medical attention, a tumor was discovered in that exact location. Casey's interpretation was that cats' sensitivity to disturbed energy fields enabled it to see the illness before physical symptoms appeared. This remarkable ability to detect energy disturbances makes cats deeply sensitive to vibrational shifts caused by anxiety, sadness, joy, or anger. When you feel anxious, your energy field tightens, emitting certain frequencies that a cat can sense. They respond by offering comfort, curling up beside you, purring softly, or simply remaining nearby. Conversely, they avoid people who radiate negative or chaotic energy. Casey suggested that cats can act as spiritual guardians, also absorbing negative energy from their surroundings and helping to maintain an energetic balance. In some cases, cats seem drawn to places where the energy is disturbed, where they instinctively seek to calm or cleanse the energy. All of this points to a fascinating, almost symbiotic relationship between humans and cats. One based not on words or overt behavior, but on invisible currents of energy. From ancient times, cats have been revered, and not just as companions, but as sacred animals, intermediaries between the physical and the spiritual world. And Casey's readings provide a more modern framework for understanding why. The Egyptians' worship of cats as divine beings was rooted in the recognition of their energetic sensitivity. Their goddess Bastet, often depicted as a lioness or domestic cat, was associated with protection, healing, and spiritual wisdom. Casey's descriptions emphasize that this ability is not only limited to cats' physical senses alone. He argued that their spiritual attunement manifests as an intuitive understanding, a kind of silent knowing that guides their actions and responses. Casey described how cats often appear to watch invisible entities or events that humans can't see. And this behavior has long fueled folklore about cats seeing spirits or ghosts. But rather than nonsense or superstition, these behaviors may actually reflect their interaction with subtle energy shifts in the electromagnetic fields, or residual trauma, or a presence of non-physical entities. Understanding Casey's theories helps us make sense of these mysteries and realize that there might be science behind it. And it also invites us to reconsider our relationship with cats. One of the most iconic features of a cat, aside from their graceful movements and piercing eyes, is their whiskers, or vibrissae. And these are not just delicate strands of hair. Guess what? They are complex, highly sensitive tactile organs, packed with nerve endings. Cats use their whiskers to sense changes in the environment, detecting even the slightest movement of air current. But Casey's readings suggest that these whiskers do even more. They are specialized sensors that respond to electromagnetic and vibrational frequencies around the cat. This ability to detect electromagnetic energy means cats can literally feel disturbances in the energy around them with their whiskers. This explains why cats often settle on or near parts of the body that are in distress. But whiskers are only part of the story. Cats have exceptionally developed sensory systems across their entire body. Their eyes are designed to pick up subtle changes in light and shadow, and their ears detect frequencies far beyond human hearing. Casey suggested that this acute sensory perception extends to the realm of energetic, allowing them to see and hear vibrations surrounding us. One of the most fascinating ideas from Casey's readings is the concept that cats actually absorb negative energy. He suggested that cats are capable of drawing in and neutralizing harmful vibrations, which can protect their human companions and the spaces they inhabit. In some cases, this can be exhausting or even harmful for the cat, which might explain why cats sometimes seek solitude after spending time in energetically heavy places. This absorptive ability aligns with stories shared by cat owners worldwide. Tales of cats who seem to sense when someone is about to have a seizure, cats who react strongly to a room where something terrible happened, or cats who provide comfort during emotional crisis. In addition, the purring of cats, which is often cited as a healing frequency, plays a role in energetic balance. Get this, cats purr at frequencies between 25 and 150 hertz, which has been shown to promote tissue regeneration and reduce inflammation. Casey suggests that the vibration could also affect the energetic body, helping to soothe disturbed energy patterns and promote healing. The more we explore these layers, the physical, the neurological, spiritual, the clearer it becomes that cats are remarkable creatures, bridging worlds that humans only glimpse occasionally. As mentioned earlier, the purring frequencies correspond to scientifically proven therapeutic ranges. So when cats purr close to us, they may be offering not just comfort, but actual energetic healing. Vibrations that stimulate tissue repair, reduce pain, and soothe our nervous system. Thank you, Mary. So, spending quiet moments with your cat, allowing them to purr and rest on you, becomes a form of mutual energetic restoration. Casey's research implies that this is a deeply reciprocal relationship. As cats help balance our energy fields, we provide them with love, safety, and respect for their sensitivity and their moods. Many cultures have long viewed cats as guardians of the unseen realms, protectors against negative spirits and guides to higher consciousness. Cats remind us that life is layered, full of vibrations and energies that we cannot perceive, but we can feel if we pay attention. So the next time your cat gazes into an empty room or curls up where you feel a quiet comfort, remember that you're witnessing a living bridge between worlds. That cat is more than a pet. It's a guardian, a healer, a vibrational beacon connected to the very fabric of life itself. And tell all your cats I said, "Meow." And that's the tale of Casey's cats. Welcome in, everybody. My name is Devin, and this is Porch Lore. And I tell spooky bedtime stories to help you relax your nervous system and fall asleep. And I'm here every single night from 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time until about 1 in the morning. Thank you to everybody tapping. Thank you for the beautiful gifts. And if you guys could do me a big favor before I start the new story of the week, could you guys hit that share arrow in the bottom right-hand corner? There's a little yellow circle with 2 arrows chasing each other that says repost. And that puts my live into your friends' FYPs, and it helps us grow this beautiful porch of ours. Also, sharing to your stories and sharing with your friends helps too. And thank you for tapping. Oh, thank you for the otter, dear grown kids. Thanks. I love that. Thank you for the cozy cryptids, Neil. I appreciate it. Thank you, Wrapping in Snow. I love that otter. He's so cute. All right, you guys, give me 1 second and I'll pull up the new story. Happy Monday. Grab a beanbag chair, grab a hammock, sit back and relax, and welcome to the porch. Good night, Brooke. Aw, thanks, Brooke. Love you. Sweet dreams. Just trying to figure out where to put the banner for this one, because I don't want it to block everything. But I have to keep one banner up. Tim's, I'm not sure what link you're referring to. All right, guys, this is the new story. And this is, once again, folklore I grew up around. And I just got a puzzle piece. 1 second. And I failed it. Okay, I got that one. Thank you for those of you reposting. I can see you down there reposting. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Boone. Oh, Matt, I learned last summer to never drink on camera or put on lip gloss. I haven't done that since last summer because I was getting restrictions all the time. So if you guys notice on Witchy Wednesday when we were at the pier, I flipped the camera to drink my water. So much of this background's cut off though. Like on the sides. Like you can't even see the ship. What the fuck? It looks way better on YT. And the water moves on YT and the bottles sparkle. So be sure to check out the YT. Because it's very pretty. Thank you, Deborah. I put so much work into it. And if, like, I feel like Skrilla said I should do a video showing you guys what I do to make these, like, to make my stories. But it really is quite a bit more work than I think some people realize. And so thank you for noticing, because not even very many people watch the YT, I don't think. And I'm like, why am I doing this? Why am I putting so much effort into the movement? I'm like, because it's an art and I love it. And so when people do actually notice like that, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you, BW. They, she said Skrilla had a good idea. Wow. I do. I enjoy this grind. Not all of the grinds, but this one I love. It's fun. I like editing and I do the art Jolly Bunch, and it's really fun. I truly enjoy all of the aspects of it, writing it, the art, and I actually like editing a lot. I really like the editing. I don't know what that means, CJ, but I'm gonna assume it's a video game. Yeah, I was just gonna say, if I'm assuming it's a video game, maybe. Yep, there we go. And you answered your own question. Yeah, maybe. But also, if you've never been to the South, then maybe you've never seen like trees like that. You know what I mean? Like, you know, but that's not true. You have been to the South, right? Didn't choose to fucking live in the South, so never mind. Thank you, Jesse. No, Tia, we're talking. Sorry if that was hard for you to understand, but we're chatting. Dan, every once in a while it changes for some weird campaign. It was like SpongeBob once. It was also like confetti. It's been like movie tickets. It changes. It's just weird. It still counts. It's just not the hearts right now. It's some weird confetti thing they're doing. Because they always just give us things we don't ask for and don't fix any of the things we wish they did, you know? Thank you, Wrapping Snow. I tried very hard to make that way. So thank you for noticing that, because I struggled with the contrast and the exposure levels when I was making this one. And the saturation levels. I struggled with the colors in general because I wanted the bottles to pop the most. And I usually make my backgrounds pop a lot, like the sky and stuff, but I couldn't do that with this. I needed the bottles to be really, you know? So Matt said, don't be a boo-boo. I know, Natalie, don't worry. The hearts will be back. It's never a permanent change. It's always for like a campaign and then they go back to hearts. Thank you so much. Dub, how you doing? You're popping bottles all the time. Like a G6. Like a G6. Pop quiz. Can anybody tell me the name of the voiceover artist who did the voice for G6? Can anybody tell me her name? Ding, 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 Cody. There you go. Isn't that just a quinky dink? Exactly, G-Easy. Hello. I said, who is the woman that voiced the voiceover artist for that song? Hi, Teresa. Kim said, my God, yesterday. Submitted for the approval of the Porch Pal Society. This is the tale of the bottle trees. Thank you, Guintos. Gabriel, I'm not talking about the YT live. I'm talking about the YT videos. Not the live. My actual videos. That's why I call them videos. Thank you, Phyllis. Oh, hi, Rich. Got it. Thanks for letting me know. Your wife is very pretty. There you go, CJ. Like a blizzard. Sorry, guys. Give me 1 second. I just had a tech thing on YT. Okay, I'm sorry, you guys. My script disappeared from here, so give me 1 second. I just have to send it to my iPad again. I have no idea how this happened. Give me 1 second. Okay, I'm sorry. I just had like a heart attack. I found it. But like, it's so weird because I record them off my iPad on my teleprompter software. And so like, I must have accidentally because it's all touchscreen. I must have accidentally hit delete. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, cause it was already in there. I used it to record the story. So like it existed in there and now it's gone. And so that's crazy. So the problem is fixed. I'll get it in the teleprompter tomorrow and I'll be right back. And yes, AMG, they are. Submitted for the approval of the Porch Pal Society. This is the tale of the bottle trees. Also, guys, this is the news story of the week. Thank you, lovely. Thank you, Denise. Thank you, Puerto Rican Shorty. Hi, Millennials After Dark. Thank you. Have you ever driven through the mountains of Appalachia and noticed something strange hanging on a tree? Not an old bird feeder, not wind chimes, not some forgotten decoration left behind by somebody's meemaw. I'm talking about those brilliant cobalt blue glass bottles, turned upside down and hanging from the branches of a tree or tucked into the limbs of a shrub. When I was growing up in Appalachia, I remember seeing them everywhere. And as a kid, I thought they were beautiful. There was something almost magical about the way those blue bottles caught the sunlight. On a summer afternoon, they'd sparkle against the green leaves like little pieces of sky caught in branches. But there was another explanation for those bottles, and it was considerably more unsettling. CJ. Because according to an old tradition, those bottles weren't there to decorate the yard. Those blue bottles were actually little prisons for the dead. This is the tale of the bottle trees. Now, this magic did not originate in the misty mountains of Appalachia. To find the roots of the bottle tree, you have to travel across the ocean and back through time. The story of the bottle trees begins in the 9th century in the Congo region of Central Africa. There, it was believed that dangerous imps or genies could be captured inside glass vessels. The exact history of the bottle tree is complicated, and historians caution against reducing several different African traditions into one simple story. But written and artistic evidence connects the American bottle tree tradition to Central Africa, particularly the Congo's practices involving vessels, branches, and spiritual protection. The Congo people had a deep tradition of honoring their venerated dead. When a powerful community member died, they were likened to a great fallen tree. And to honor them, families would create gravesite memorials surrounding the resting place with trees, sticks, adorned with bowls, bottles, plates. The tree became an altar, a crossroads between the living and the dead. Now fast forward a bit to the darkest chapter in American history: the transatlantic slave trade. Millions of Africans were violently forced from their homes and transported across the Atlantic. They were stripped of their freedom, separated from their families, and brought to the Americas. But something could not be taken from them quite so easily. Their memories, their stories, their spiritual traditions. And among the traditions that survived, changed, and merged with the realities of life in the Americas was the practice of the bottle tree. People used what they had: branches, trees, discarded bottles, old glass containers, whatever could be transformed into something protective. The bottle tree became one of those traditions that crossed cultures and generations. And it became particularly associated with the American South. The practice took deep root in the coastal low country of South Carolina and Georgia, nurtured by the Gullah Geechee people. The Gullah Geechee people, isolated on the sea islands of the Atlantic coast, fiercely preserved their African cultural spiritual traditions, weaving them into hoodoo and folk magic. And in the low country, the tradition evolved, and the specific color of the bottles became paramount. While any shiny bottle might catch a spirit, cobalt blue was the most powerful. And there's a historical reason for that. In the low country of South Carolina and Georgia, indigo was not simply a pretty color. It was one of the main cash crops. Indigo was an entire industry. Enslaved laborers were forced to cultivate and process blue indigo for the plantation economy, producing the valuable blue dye that was then exported to European markets. Did it, Rochelle? Yeah, certain words I never said on the news, so like my accent pops out. So the history of that beautiful blue color became inseparable from the brutal history of slavery in the American South. Really, Thay? I love that, see? Yup. But enslaved Africans and their descendants in the Low Country gave that color meaning of their own. The color blue itself acquired spiritual meaning to the people in the area. And this specific shade was called haint blue. It represented two things that evil spirits cannot tolerate: the vast sky where the ancestors reside, and the water, which spirits are famously unable to cross. So by placing blue bottles outside their doors, the Gullah Geechee created a spiritual moat around their homes. The word haint itself is an African American vernacular form of haunt, and the word became associated with ghosts and other dangerous supernatural beings. Over the centuries, the bottle tree tradition slowly migrated away from the southern coastal plantations and moved inland, eventually finding a home in the isolated folds of the Appalachian Mountains. In Appalachia, the practice blended seamlessly with the local Scottish folk magic beliefs such as fairy trees and other mountain superstitions already deeply rooted in the area. Crepe, myrtles, and cedar trees became the preferred hosts of these bottles. And what began as an African graveside altar and a low country spiritual defense evolved into a widespread Appalachian talisman passed down through generations. So the next time you see a blue bottle tree catching the sun in someone's yard, remember that you aren't just looking at recycled glass. It's easy, especially today, to look at a bottle tree and think it's just a quirky southern decorative tradition. But underneath that beautiful blue glass is a much deeper story. You are looking at a survival story. 1,000-year-old African tradition that crossed an ocean, outlasted slavery, and still stands quietly protecting the yards of Americans today. It's a story about Africans who carried pieces of their spiritual world across an ocean they never wanted to cross. It's a story about enslaved people preserving traditions under conditions designed to strip them of their identities. It's a story about cultures adapting, changing, surviving, and uniting, and eventually creating something uniquely American from pieces of many different worlds. The bottle tree isn't simply an African superstition that somehow appeared in America, and it isn't simply an Appalachian decoration. Its history is more complicated and much more fascinating. It is part of a living tradition shaped by African spiritual heritage, the history of slavery, the Gullah Geechee culture, and the merging of Scottish folk magic traditions throughout Appalachia. And that's what folklore does. It travels, it changes, it gets passed from one person to another. And sometimes the people telling the story don't even remember where it began. They just remember that their Meemaw did it and her Meemaw did it, and that's enough. So, if you're ever walking past a bottle tree at night and you hear one of those blue bottles humming in the wind, you might want to keep walking. Because maybe it's only the breeze. Maybe it's just glass. Maybe there's a perfectly ordinary explanation. But folklore has a funny way of making us wonder. And well, I'd probably leave those haints alone. After all, somebody sure went to a lot of trouble to trap them. And that's the tale of the bottle trees. The new story of the week. Welcome in, everybody. My name is Devin, and this is Porch Lore. I tell spooky bedtime stories to help you relax your nervous system and help you fall asleep. And I'm here every single night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time until about 1 in the morning, sometimes later. I do write and record all of these stories myself, and you can listen to them whenever you would like on my YT channel, as well as all of the podcast streaming sites. Just look for Porch Lore and you will find me. Also, all of the links are in my bio. Spider Girl, I grew up in Appalachia, and I tell all different cultures' folklore. And I like to focus on the actual background of folk tales, So I like to research where they originated, where they actually originated. You know what I mean? And I like to give credit where credit is due. And so wherever the folk tale I choose is, wherever it originates, that's where my story goes. Exactly, Rich. Like the chupacabra ended up taking us to Puerto Rico. Thanks, peaceful rulers. Thank you, Matt, so much for helping me with my gallery. I appreciate it. Thank you. It just reset yesterday, so thank you so much. Exactly, Deborah. Okay, you guys, do you guys want... Do you guys want an extra story? Thank you for the beautiful flowers, Mace. I love that. I love that gift. I love how it takes up the whole screen. It's so pretty. All right, you guys. Perfect. I'll set up the poll. Give me 1 second. And if you guys could do me a big favor, could you hit that share arrow? Oh, thank you so much, Michelle. I love that rocket. It's so weird. It's like a lava lamp rocket. It's so cute. Northern Lights are outside in Saskatchewan right now. Awesome. I've seen the Northern Lights once, and they were pink. And it was very weird. And it was in Michigan, and I looked it up, and they are sometimes pink. But I didn't get to see the stereotypical ones. And I actually pulled over because I honestly thought something was happening neurologically, because I just saw this wildly bright hot pink light in the middle of the night in the sky. It was 3 in the morning, and I was like, Am I having a stroke or something? Like, because I didn't even know you could see them in that part of Michigan, and I didn't know they were supposed to be happening. And it was incredible. And it was just it was like this past November, like the November that just happened. It was amazing. Thank you, Sandy. I love that. You saw them in Alabama? Okay. See, and that's crazy to me because when I was doing a movie in Georgia, they said that we could see them there, but I could not see them. But I did see them in Michigan, and they were pink. Yeah, Trey, I didn't know, like, I thought it was neurological at first, because I was like, what is that pink shit in this? Because, like, I've never heard they could be pink. I thought they were, I said Saskatchewan. I thought they were like blue, green, purple, blue, green, purple. I've never seen pink. And this was like hot ass pink. So I was like, uh-oh, my brain's failing me. I've maxed it out. I didn't know. I was like, I need to pull over. So the first thing I did was like pull over because I wanted to make sure. It's like if I'm gonna, I don't want to crash my car into somebody. No, it's not Szechuan sauce. You've seen the pink too, Tiffany? Okay, awesome. Because I looked it up, and it is the thing, but I didn't know that, and it was remarkable. It was one of the most, like the word wonder. It was literally like one of the most moments of wonder I've ever had in my life. I was like, like it was. I would put it up there with seeing tornadoes. It was phenomenal. It was really just an amazing experience to see. Because the sky was so dark that it was like, it looked like it was glowing hot pink. It was just the weirdest damn thing. Natalie, I have a problem because tornadoes, it's something about, like, I don't know, maybe it's because we both mesmerize, but tornadoes are one of the few things that like mesmerize me. Lovely, you're cute, like candy. Like where when you're mesmerized by something, you literally forget about being in harm's way. You forget about, like, you will just stare at it in awe or go towards it because your brain isn't thinking correctly. And that actually happens. It's a phenomenon. And it happens in different things to different people. But tornadoes in real life, seeing one in front of your eye with your eyes is in fact mesmerizing, on a level of, like, I don't think I've ever been mesmerized before, except for that and then the Northern Lights, because I, like, the several times it's happened to me, it's a different, like, I can feel it happening, and I don't even know how to explain it. But it's like yeah, see, you get it. A day in the life, you do. You get it, right? When they're coming, like, you don't even move when you know you should, because it's like the weirdest damn thing. It mesmerizes you. And it's like, it's the craziest thing. And I'm already a wild, adventurous person, so my sister used to, like, freak out when I was a storm chaser. She used to be, she still requires my location at all times, but she used to, like, because everybody in our family knows a lot about weather. So she actually knows what she's talking about too. So she would freak out more because I couldn't be like, oh no, it's not that bad because my family knows weather. So she'd be like, yeah, the fuck it is, Devin. I'm like, oh, oopsie. Yes, Sherry, that's exactly it. A fascinating, mesmerizing inability to move, as if you become one with it. That is literally the best way to describe it. That's the best way to describe it. Is you feel it's like a magic, I don't know. And I'm glad it's not just me because I'm like an elemental weirdo. It's like a thing. It's and a lot of people I feel like don't talk, catatonic almost. I feel like a lot of people don't talk about it. But it will it's a danger that they don't tell you about. Because like they say don't get too close, but they don't tell you why. And then when you see one, it's like your brain shorts out. And I looked it up before, and it's basically your brain didn't think you'd ever see it. It can't it's only seen it in fiction basically, or like in a setting where you are safe. So your brain cannot process fast enough. Like it never thought it would be in that situation. Or something like that. It's basically like your brain does actually like short out for a second because it doesn't know, right, Tiffany? Yeah, because it doesn't know what to do because it's such a remarkable, like unusual event that's happening that you don't know what to do, and your brain like actually, yep, exactly, Natalie. Your mind doesn't believe your eyes. Yep. Your mind doesn't believe your eyes, so you sit there and you stare because your mind is trying to figure out what the fuck your eyes are showing it, and it is the weirdest phenomenon. It is literally what mesmerizing is, and it is when you are like, it's just incredible feeling. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty amazing. But then you're like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, drive. And I will, all thoughts stop. That's exactly right. Every single thought leaves your mind. Like people are like, didn't you think about your loved one? I'm like, no, nothing. Literally everything leaves your mind. You don't think about anything. And that's what's so weird is it's like a blackout. I don't even know. I'm glad some of you know what I'm talking about because it's a very weird one. But I never experienced that with hurricanes because you can't see it. You just know it's coming and it's terror for days. And like, I mean, I feel like it's, your fight or flight is in shock. Yep. Because it's one of those occurrences that's so unusual that your brain hasn't like worked up scenarios on how to deal with it. Because our brains do that all the time. When we encounter situations, we work up how to deal with the next time, and since we have our brain has no base of like, what the fuck is that? That like our brain's just like, like, but if you've experienced it before, even like, it doesn't matter how smart you are. The moment you see one, your brain is just like, goodbye. Holy shit, that's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life. It's wild. So remember that next time you see storm chasers out there who are able to snap themselves out of that shit, and turn around or turn before, because that is very hard to do. And it takes years of practice to be able to like unglitch your brain and be like, drive. Beefy. Beefy said, Skrilla said, Devin, respectfully get your ass in the basement. He said, time to throw Devin over my shoulder. Yeah, really, because I would be frozen. Like, ooh, pretty. All right. The poll is ready. We have the fairy trees, the playground, the devil's highway, the frightful fireworks, and Haint Blue. You can vote in the top left-hand corner. There's a blue box. Who's it gonna be, guys? You can vote up to 50 times, and you can vote for more than one story. We've got the fairy trees, the playground, the dead children's playground, the devil's highway, the frightful fireworks, and Haint Blue. A day in the life. I went through Hurricane Harvey, and man, I don't like all storms. I only like tornadoes and supercells. Hurricanes can F off. No thanks. I was trapped in my apartment for 10 days with my 2 cats. It was like, literally, it was really, really bad. Hi, Spooky Cabins. How you doing? Long time no see. I love how Lovely is so cute. She acts like she's like a blind person in the YT chat. She goes, Justin, are you in here? Did a poll happen? And if so, who won? Can you tell me? Can you be my eyes? All the water, Gigi. All of the water surrounding us. I lived in a high-rise, and the entire first floor, our basement, full of people's cars, out the lobby, everything filled up with water, and our elevators shorted out. And I lived on the 14th floor. I know, Lovely's so cute. I love her. And it was floodwaters directly outside. We couldn't even open like the front door. Like our whole building was flooded in the basement. Like the whole, like I was just high enough to where it wasn't. But basically the first 4 floors were, yeah. It was very frightening. Really, Lovely? That's so funny. That's crazy. I thought there always was. Maybe it got fixed. No, that was in Houston. Sun and Moon. Hurricane Harvey hit Houston twice, actually. It turned around in a first time in history of a hurricane doing this. It turned around and it came back and hit us again 3 days later. After we thought we were... It was like a 10-day trauma. It was literally terrifying. Because then they told us it was coming back, and I'll never be able to explain the way it felt when they told us it was coming back. Because that's never happened before. And we were like, are you kidding? The fuck? No. And like, we didn't even know what they were talking. Like, what do you mean? And it did. It came back 3 days later, and it sat on top of Houston for 2 days. Which also a hurricane has never done before. And so it's still the worst hurricane to hit North America in history, apparently. And it was my first, and it was horrifying. And I literally had to go to therapy afterwards because I had PTSD, and I would wake up. When I moved to Denver, I still would wake up in the middle of the night, and my eyes would see my apartment in Houston. When we had a bad storm in Denver, my brain would go back there, and I would see it with my eyes when I'd wake up in the middle of the night to like us, because Colorado got really bad storms too. And so it was like, it was wild. And my dad tried to send me like an Amazon care package of food, and I was like, Dad, it's not going to get here. And he tried to send me like my favorite things because I love like chicken salad, you know, with like the little mayo and the chicken. And it came like 2 weeks later and they were glass jars of mayo, just broken and gross all over the inside. And it was like wet and like I literally lived off, I had to eat cans of Chef Boyardee because that was like the only thing I could find, and it doesn't go bad. And we lost power for a while, and it was Hurricane Harvey. Yeah, it was intense. And I just happened to be living there when it happened. You know, weather witch, shit happens like that. Okay. Frightful fireworks one. Woohoo! Be right back, guys. I also feel like that's another thing nobody who's been through hurricanes talks about is like, it's traumatizing. It's like, even if your place isn't destroyed, it's different than tornadoes. Tornadoes hit a small section very quickly and they're gone. Hurricanes, they tell you for days before that it's coming. So then you're just on high alert that it's coming. Then you know it's coming. Then it's coming, and it's just the worst. It's so it's like a prolonged state of panic, and it's really just. And yes, and then hurricanes do create tornadoes. I spent my Valentine's Day in 2017 with a tornado. Sure did. In Rosewood, Texas. I wish I was working. There was no check. Submitted for the approval of the Porch Pal Society. This is the tale of the frightful fireworks. Every 4th of July, I try to spend at least one night somewhere I've never been before. It started as a way to force myself out of my routine, and over the years it's become something I really look forward to. Oh my God, I love that sun. You're so cute. That's so cute. There's something about summer highways, little roadside diners, old motels with flickering vacancy signs, and small towns decorating themselves in red, white, and blue that feels very American. And last year I found a tiny town tucked into the hills where the annual fireworks celebration was supposed to be one of the biggest in the country. Right, Natalie? Isn't that how it always works? The population was barely 1,500 people, but according to every travel blog I could find, thousands showed up every Independence Day. Hi, Grimithy Squeaks. It sounded perfect. I booked an old Airbnb outside town, a restored farmhouse sitting alone at the end of a gravel road. The pictures showed wraparound porch, antique furniture, and a field stretching out toward a line of dark woods. It looked peaceful, and the owner had dozens of glowing reviews. I arrived just before sunset on the 3rd of July. The owner met me in the driveway. He looked exactly like someone who belonged there. Late 60s, denim overalls, gray beard, baseball cap advertising a tractor company that probably hasn't existed in years. Nothing about him immediately set off any alarms. He smiled, and he carried my overnight bag inside before I could stop him. He pointed out where everything was, the kitchen, the upstairs bedroom, the back porch. And then he gave me a weird piece of advice. He said that everyone in town would leave after the fireworks tomorrow night, and that I should do the same. At the time, I thought he was joking, but looking back, I don't think he was. The town itself was exactly what I had hoped for. Flags hung from every porch, children rode decorated bicycles, food trucks lined the courthouse square. By evening, people had spread out blankets across a massive hillside, overlooking the river where the fireworks would launch. It was beautiful. The kind of small town celebration that feels like stepping into another decade. I spent hours wandering. I bought homemade pie. I walked through a classic car show. Everything felt completely normal. Until I noticed that all of the locals kept staring at me. It seemed like they were all watching me out of the corner of their eye. Several people smiled politely and a few nodded, but they all looked at me like I was the only one there who didn't live there or something. I assumed maybe I was just imagining it. Hi, Blue. Hi, Blue. The fireworks began at 9:30. They were spectacular. I love fireworks. The explosions echoed through the valley with enough force to vibrate the ground beneath everyone's lawn chairs. For 30 straight minutes, the sky never became completely dark. It was honestly one of the best displays I've ever seen. Then the finale ended. Thousands of people applauded. Families folded blankets. Traffic immediately clogged every road leading away from town. I decided to wait. I figured I'd avoid the rush by hanging around another half an hour or so. And that decision almost got me killed. Within 20 minutes, the town became eerily empty. Not gradually, rapidly. The food vendors packed up with astonishing speed. Thank you! Thank you for the star map, Blue. Thank you for the cow napping. Guys, be sure to follow my crystal friend in China, who is lovely. If you'd like crystals, I just pinned her right there. Hello. Thank you so much for the love. The food vendors packed up with astonishing speed. Police cruisers that had directed traffic simply disappeared. The streetlights remained on and storefront lights remained on, but all of the people vanished. I found it odd enough that I started walking back to my car faster. Halfway there, I realized that my car was one of the only vehicles left. The parking lot had held hundreds and now it looked abandoned. The drive back to the farmhouse took 15 minutes. Darkness settled over the fields. The only sounds were the crickets and distant fireworks from neighboring towns. When I turned onto the gravel driveway, I noticed the owner's truck wasn't there. The porch light glowed warmly and everything looked fine. I unlocked the front door, walked inside, and I locked it behind me. Then, I heard footsteps upstairs, and I froze. Thank you. Thank you, DH Crystal 9. I knew I had rented the entire house. The owner had specifically said that he stayed elsewhere whenever guests booked the property. The footsteps upstairs continued, crossing the bedroom floor directly above me. Then I heard a second set of footsteps. I grabbed my keys and I backed toward the front door. I unlocked it and I pulled. Nothing. I pulled harder. The door wouldn't move, and I looked, and there was a thick iron bar across the outside. Someone had just locked me in. Before I could move, headlights swept across the curtains and I saw the owner's truck pulling in. He climbed out carrying something long, and at first I thought it was a shovel. But then I realized it was a rifle. Not aimed, just carried casually as though he had done this before. I didn't wait. I ran through the kitchen, found the back door. Locked. Oh my God, same heavy bar outside. Every exit had been secured from the outside. And there was no connection. And I don't mean weak service. I mean no service, like someone cut the line. Just moments earlier, I had been streaming music on the drive home, and now there was absolutely nothing. Then the footsteps upstairs stopped, and then I heard them descending down the stairs. Then I heard the owner unlock the front door. I heard the metal scraping as he lifted the iron bar. Then the front door opened. I didn't stay another moment. The kitchen window shattered surprisingly easily. Glass exploded into the sink. I climbed through. I sliced my forearm. I dropped into the backyard and I started running. The field behind the farmhouse stretched nearly half a mile before reaching the woods. I sprinted straight for the tree line. The trees would save me. Behind me, I heard no shouting, no commands, no gunshots. And that silence terrified me more than anything, because it suggested that they weren't even worried. Halfway across the field, I looked back and I saw 3 inadequate flashlights following me, keeping pace like people who knew exactly where I would end up. The woods were darker than I had expected. Dry leaves crunched beneath my shoes, and my phone flashlight was inadequate and barely reached 20 feet ahead. And then I spotted a narrow trail with several fresh boot prints leading deeper into the forest. And that was when everything started to click. The Airbnb wasn't just my destination. It was the bait. I left the trail immediately. I started cutting through dense brush instead. Thorns tore my clothes. At one point, I stumbled downhill until I reached a shallow creek. Without thinking, I began walking in the water. I had read somewhere that moving through the creek makes it harder for people to track you. And I had no idea if that was actually true, but I was desperate. After nearly 40 minutes, I saw headlights. An actual road. A state highway. Thank you for the pillow fight, Misbehavin'. I love that. I burst from the woods, waving both arms, and a pickup truck stopped. The driver looked horrified when he saw me covered in blood and mud. I climbed inside before he could change his mind. I spent the next hour explaining everything, or trying to. The state police returned to the farmhouse before sunrise, and according to the report that I later received, the house was empty. No owner, no truck. No evidence anyone else had been inside except for the broken kitchen window. They searched the woods and said they found nothing. When I got home, I started researching missing persons reports from that county. And I found them. Lots of them. Tourists, women, traveling alone. Several had disappeared over holiday weekends. Different years, different circumstances, but they all had one thing in common. The last confirmed place anyone saw them alive was that farmhouse. I still celebrate the 4th of July every year. I still love fireworks, but I never stay overnight in unfamiliar places anymore. Especially not in isolated vacation rentals, and especially not holiday weekends. Because I learned something that night. Predators don't always hunt when places are isolated or empty. Sometimes they wait until thousands of people have gathered together. Because that's the perfect time for a stranger to disappear. Everyone remembers the fireworks, but nobody remembers the woman from out of town who quietly drove away afterward. Except the people who were waiting for her. And that's the tale of the frightful fireworks, and that was my 4th of July holiday story. Welcome in, everybody. My name is Devin, and this is Porch Lore, and I tell spooky bedtime stories to help you relax your nervous system and fall asleep. And I'm here every single night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time until about 1 in the morning. I do write and record all of these stories myself, and you can listen to them whenever you would like on my YT channel, as well as all of the podcast streaming services. Just look for Porch Lore and you will find me. I also have all the links in my bio. And now it is grilled cheese time. So grab a beanbag chair, grab a hammock, sit back and relax. Check out the shooting stars, and welcome to the porch. I'm going to pull up the last story of the night, and if you guys would do me a big favor and hit that share arrow one more time, there is a little yellow circle that has 2 arrows chasing each other that says repost. That puts the live into your friends' FYPs, and it helps us grow our beautiful porch. Also, sharing to your stories and sharing with your friends helps too. And I'll be right back with the tale of the night shift at Sycamore Diner. Good night, Connor. Jess, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the porch. Submitted for the approval of the Porch Pal Society. This is the tale of the night shift at Sycamore Diner. Thank you, Brenda. Thank you, Rogue. I'm not usually the kind of person who pulls over on back roads at night. Not unless I absolutely have to. But that night, something about the storm, the long drive, and that growling pit in my stomach convinced me otherwise. I was hungry. It was late October and I was headed back to campus after a weekend visit with my friends in North Carolina. I had a midterm on Monday, and my plan had been to drive straight through, 5 hours, no stops. But then came the rain. One of those cold, slanted, whispery rains. And yes, shout out to the theremin. That creeps into your bones and makes the windshield wipers sound like a heartbeat. Right, Skrilla? Totally. Whoopsie, that's me. I had taken the wrong exit, trying to bypass traffic, and I ended up on a 2-lane back road, surrounded by nothing but pine trees and power lines. And that's when I saw the neon sign. SYCAMRE Diner. The O in Sycamore was flickering like it hadn't worked right in years, but the rest was lit up in a cherry red neon. A tiny beacon in the middle of nowhere. I figured I'd grab a quick bite, maybe some coffee, check my map, and get back on the highway. I still had but I should have kept driving. Sorry, my iPad just skipped to it. I should have known something was off the second I stepped inside. The bell over the door jingled, but not like a normal bell. It made this sharp metallic ping that echoed longer than it should have. The air inside was warm, almost too warm, and it smelled like grilled onions and pancake syrup. If I died today, remember me like John Lennon. The place looked like it had been yanked straight from 1957. Checkerboard floor, red vinyl booths, a long counter with spinning stools, even a jukebox in the corner that looked like it hadn't worked in decades. And the people, they all stopped and looked at me the second I walked in. Not in a rude way, just quiet, like they weren't expecting me. Like I had walked into the middle of a sentence that no one wanted to finish. A waitress, tall, with a beehive hairdo and a light blue uniform, smiled and waved me over. "You get caught in the rain, sweetheart," she said, handing me a laminated menu. I nodded, still trying to shake off that weird feeling. Yeah, the highway's a mess. She chuckled and patted my shoulder. "Well, you're safe here. Sycamore's always open for travelers." I sat down at a corner booth, and the vinyl creaked. And I remember the jukebox shifted songs by itself and started playing some slow doo-wop ballad that I didn't recognize. I looked around and everyone looked normal, sort of. There was a trucker with a thick gray beard, drinking coffee at the counter. A young couple whispering to each other in a booth by the jukebox. And an older woman stirring tea like she was lost in thought, in the red 911 looking devilish. But they all had the same look in their eyes, like they were there, but also somewhere else. Like they were watching me out of the corners of their eyes even when they were looking down. The waitress came back with coffee, strong, hot, and surprisingly good. And I ordered a grilled cheese with fries. Simple, safe. She wrote it down with one of those clicky pens and said, "Don't worry, it's on the house tonight." And that was my second red flag. No diner just gives food away. While I waited, I took out my phone to check the map. Thank you, Kendi. And there was no signal, and I mean nothing. No bars, no Wi-Fi, not even GPS. Just a blank screen with a spinning wheel. I glanced out the foggy window and the storm was still going. But now the wind had picked up. I could see the power lines swaying like jump ropes in the dark. But the diner stayed perfectly lit. Not even a flicker. Hey, Fernando, read the room, bro. Really? The food came fast. Too fast, like under 5 minutes. But it looked amazing. Golden bread, gooey cheese, crispy fries with a little metal cup of ketchup on the side. I took a bite. Delicious. I mean, I've eaten at a lot of diners, greasy spoons, college joints, and roadside shacks, but this was hands down the best grilled cheese I've ever had. The fries were perfect, and the coffee never ran out. Every time I took a sip, it was somehow full again. I was halfway through the sandwich when the trucker got up to leave. He walked right past my table, nodded once, and whispered, "Don't stay past midnight." That's all he said. What? But he was already out the door. The waitress gave me a tight smile and walked over, collecting his empty mug. Old Earl, he's always saying weird stuff. Just ignore him. But I couldn't. Something about his voice stuck with me. Something about the way he looked at me. Not like I was a customer, but like I was in danger. I checked the clock over the register. 11:42. I figured I had just enough time to finish my fries, grab the check, and head out. I still had at least 3 hours left on the road. But when I stood up, the lights flickered. Just once, and then again. And then everything in the diner stopped moving. The couple by the jukebox froze mid-sentence. The woman with the tea stopped stirring, her spoon hanging in midair. The waitress, her hand reached out for a mug, just stopped, like someone hit pause on the entire scene. I took a step back. The jukebox buzzed, glitched, and restarted a new track. I could still move, but no one else could. And then I heard it. Not music, not a storm, a voice, not coming from anyone I could see. Just a whisper that seemed to echo from the walls themselves. I backed toward the door, my heart hammering in my chest, and I turned the knob. Locked. Of course it was locked. I tried the windows, but they were sealed shut. I started banging on the glass and shouting, but no one was outside. Just wind and rain and that flickering red sign. SYCAMRE. I turned back toward the dining room, and everyone was gone. Not frozen anymore, just gone. The booths were empty. No plates, no crumbs, no mugs. No sign that anyone had ever even been there. Except for my plate. Still warm and still half-eaten. And then I saw the waitress, and she was standing by the kitchen doors, her silhouette backlit by flickering fluorescent light. Her face was wrong. The same smile, but her eyes were empty, black and endless, like someone had painted over them. "You shouldn't be here, honey," she said in that same cheerful voice. "Not yet," I stumbled back, knocking over a chair as she took one slow step toward me. The others, they were waiting, but you just wandered in. She raised a hand and the walls began to shimmer. Literally shimmer. Like heat waves on asphalt. The checkered floor rippled and the red booths started to fade, becoming outlines and then shadows and then nothing. And then I saw it. Underneath the illusion. It was charred wood, cracked tile, broken beams, and black soot. Like the diner had burned down long ago. I ran. I don't even remember how I got out. 1 second I was inside, and the next, I was on the side of the road, soaked to the bone and gasping for air. My car was still there, pulled up with the ceiling missing, parked on gravel that didn't even look like a lot anymore. Just weeds and puddles. No neon sign, no glowing windows, just nothing. I drove back to campus that night in silence. No music, no Porch Lore podcast. I kept glancing in the rear view mirror, half expecting to see that red neon flicker back to life. I didn't tell anyone, not for weeks. Not until I finally looked up Sycamore Diner on a local history site, and I found it. It burned to the ground in 1972. A gas leak. Skrilla. A gas leak. The whole place went up at midnight. A gas leak. The whole place went up at midnight, and everyone inside was killed. 5 patrons, a waitress, and a cook. The photo in the article? Same checkerboard floor. Same red booths, same neon sign. SYCAMORE. And in the corner of the photo, that same waitress, smiling. I never took that back road again. I don't even drive at night anymore if I can help it. And every time I see a neon diner sign, something in me flinches just a little. Because I know I was there. And I know I wasn't supposed to be. But the part that keeps me up sometimes, the part that really makes my stomach turn, that was the best damn grilled cheese I've ever had. And I didn't even pay for it. Okay, well, Fernando, you were already muted once and you didn't learn your lesson. This is literally not a place where you come tell your stories. Can you not read the room? Like, what is wrong with you? You've been spamming the chat with that. And guess what? Do what everybody else does. And if you want to share your story, you email it to me. That's literally what people do. Jesus Christ. Anyway, that's the tale of the night shift at Sycamore Diner. Skrilla, it doesn't matter. You never catch any of them. You never see any of them. Well, Jade, you must have only muted him for like a minute because he was back. Thank you, mods. I appreciate you guys. I love you. All right, guys. Thank you for spending your Monday with me. I hope you guys like the new story. And if you aren't able to fall asleep, Kendi, if you aren't able to fall asleep, Justin's little dancing feet are too fast. That's hilarious, Skrilla. Head on over to my YT channel, and I have a bedtime stories playlist where you can fall asleep to all of these. And if you hit shuffle, you'll probably be out by like the second story. And oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thanks, Sherry. Also, the Wednesday is Witchy Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time if you guys like to join me during the day. And I will see you guys again tomorrow. Same time, same place. 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Justin, do you know if Dazza was going live or did he just come in to say hi? Oh, hi, Charlotte. You're in France. Lovely. I'm jealous. How are you? How's France? Wonderful. Yes, good night, Porch Pals. You don't think so? Okay. Good night, Porch Pals. Love you guys. Sweet dreams, and don't forget, stay spooky. Oh, thank you, Kendi. You're so sweet. Thank you for checking, Justin. No raid tonight. Good night, guys. See you tomorrow. Thanks, Jade. Love you. Good night, everybody.